Thank you. Just to be clear, you're not expecting the Israeli Prime Minister to come to this building for any meeting, are you?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. All right. Now, let me ask you this about the Prime Minister, as an expert, not that I want you to get into his head, but...
What am I an expert in?
No, you are an expert on this issue, or an expert in knowing the Israeli Prime Minister for sure. You've encountered him many times. But my question to you, would you be less inclined to be cooperative on this deal? He's obstinate by nature, but now he may feel that there's, a great deal of disincentive to go ahead with this deal, since the person who basically, articulated this deal has decided that he will no longer run for office.
So expert or not, I try not to put myself in the minds of anyone else, try to make assessments about people based on their actions, and I will speak to the actions of the government of Israel, including the Prime Minister, when it comes to this potential ceasefire deal, and that is that they have continued to stand by the proposal that the President outlined publicly some 6 weeks or so ago. We have been engaged with them over the course of the past few weeks, trying to bridge the final differences. And what they tell us and what they continue to show is that they are working to try to get a deal. Doesn't mean that they are willing to agree to every demand that Hamas has made. Of course not. That's the standard way a negotiation proceeds. But we continue to judge that they are working to try to reach a deal.
Okay, so you don't feel that a great deal may have changed, and let's say, and what Israel would want or would agree to in the last 24 hours as a result?
No, I do not. And again, I'm going to assess all the parties by the actions they take.
Right. Yeah, a couple more questions. The U.S. criticized the ruling, the ICJ ruling, that the Israeli occupation of Palestine is illegal. Why would you do that? Because you guys, I want to learn. You are a signatory to 242, 338, and so on, which speak very clearly on, what is occupied territory and so on. Why would you be opposed to a statement that is stating the obvious, actually, that the West Bank and East Jerusalem?
So if you look closely at the response that we gave to people that asked for our take on this ruling on Friday, what we said is that we have been clear that the Israeli government's support for settlements is inconsistent with international law, and of course runs contrary to the cause of peace, and that we respect the role the International Court of Justice plays in the peaceful settlement of disputes. But what we are concerned about is that parties will use the court's advice as a pretext for further unilateral actions that will just deepen divisions and make the cause of establishing an independent Palestinian state more difficult to achieve. So we're clear on what we think about the settlement program, and we're also clear about what we think the ultimate outcome ought to be here, which is the establishment of an independent Palestinian state, and that's what we continue to pursue.
Right. Your position is very clear on the occupation, very clear on the pursuit of a two-state solution and so on, and the settlement, all this. But the Israelis are not responding. Now, you continue to say that the best or the most feasible path forward on this is negotiation. But then we have the legislative body of Israel come out and say, we're not going to negotiate on this issue. So why not then, take this matter into some sort of international forum?
Because we believe the best outcome, ultimately, to establish an independent Palestinian state, and it's important to remember the practical goal that we want to see achieved. Not votes at international bodies that don't do anything, not rhetorical statements that don't do anything. We want to see the actual establishment of an independent Palestinian state. And in our judgment, to get there, it is going to require a negotiation. And yeah, it's a very difficult process. Obviously, there's a reason why this dispute has been dragging on for decades now. But we continue to push for the establishment of a Palestinian state, and we continue to look at ways to come out of the current conflict and get a ceasefire and build a ceasefire into lasting peace and build a ceasefire into enduring stability, and ultimately push for the establishment of a Palestinian state. Not to say that it's easy. Of course, it's not easy, but in our judgment, that is the route that has the ultimate best chance of success.
Lastly, on the water, Israel is using water as a weapon, according to different reports in Gaza. said like water has been cut off by 94%. Are you aware of this situation?
I haven't seen that specific report, but I can tell you that we have been working to try and get food and, of course, water into the people of Gaza. We have been working to try and get pipelines turned back on. There have been times that Israel has made progress working with local Palestinian agencies to try to get water turned back on, and then you had events that led to pipes being disrupted again. Obviously, the provision of water is incredibly important. It's why, for another example, we've worked to get fuel into Gaza to allow desalination plants to run so they can provide water to the people who need it, and that continues to be a priority for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.